What's up everyone on the internet? Thank you for making this video part today. I am so excited because we're finally at the end of September and I figured, you know what? Let's finish off this month with a Western film that not a lot of people know about, and that's Jane's Got a Gun. So this movie came out back in 2016 and stars Natalie Portman, Joel Edgerton, and Ewan McGregor. Okay, let me geek out right now because all three of these actors were in a Star Wars film, more specifically the prequels, because we got Padme, Uncle Owen, and Obi-Wan in a Western movie about guns, gangs, and bounty hunters. I'm pretty sure this must have been quite the reunion because when you think about it, all three of these actors hadn't seen each other since they wrapped up filming Avengers 6, which was back in 2005. And to make things even more interesting, we both have Natalie Portman and Joel Edgerton playing ex-lovers while we're having Ewan McGregor play a more sinister villain in this movie. But like I said, this movie came out back in 2016 and stars Natalie Portman as Jane Hammond, who's just a simple housewife working on her farm until her husband comes home riddled with bullets, and the only person within miles that can help her just so happens to be her ex-husband Dan Frost, played by Joel Edgerton. Now, right off the bat, I already love where this is going because you're putting both of these characters in a very awkward situation given how Jane pretty much left Dan for the other guy, but really needs his help because, as it turns out, her husband has a bounty on him and Ewan McGregor's character, John Bishop, is looking to collect. And that's pretty much the movie as we watch these two ex-lovers try to fend off a gang of outlaws. But one of the things that I liked about this movie is how we get to see both sides of this torn up marriage and understand why these two split up. And at the same time, I felt very bad for what happened to Dan. But then again, I'm a guy, and I'm pretty sure most women would agree with Jane. So I can only imagine that if you're watching this with your significant other, the room would be divided on who is right and who is wrong. Sorry guys, but even when we're right, we're still wrong. And one of the other things that I really liked about this movie was obviously seeing Ewan McGregor, because even though I see him as Obi-Wan, watching him act is always a delight, and seeing him play a villain in this movie is a nice touch on his filmography, because while there are times where he is very sinister, there are also times where he's pretty damn charming, to the point where I kind of want to switch sides and join him. But anyway, even though I really enjoyed those aspects of the film, I hate to say it, but most of the movie is I mean, with a runtime of an hour and a half, the movie hits the ground running in the first act, but ultimately shifts gears once we get in the second act when we encounter a lot of flashbacks, which really drags the movie down before ramping things up again for the third act. Which is very sad because even though we got to learn what happened to Jane and Dan in the past, I was more invested in what was happening to them in the present, which we didn't get that much of, and that was pretty much the selling point of the whole movie by having these two ex-lovers work together as they try to fend off a gang. I feel like if we were to limit some of the flashback scenes, maybe we could have dived more in this broken relationship that was taking place in the present. But anyway, once we get into the third act, it sort of brings this movie back to life as we ramp things up with some decent action. So yeah, good start. We slow down a bit, but at least we finish off on a good note. However, I will say, despite the pacing, Natalie Portman, Joel Edgerton, and Ewan McGregor give it their all in this movie. And with Natalie Portman front and center, she pretty much carries the entire movie, and we see that in the character of Jane, who is this woman trying to protect her family. And let me tell you, there are two moments where we see the mama bear come out, and they are both terrifying. It also gives you a sort of unique perspective on this genre because in most westerns we're mainly following the male protagonist, so it's nice to see a western movie being told from a woman's point of view. So while I enjoy this movie despite some of its flaws, it's kind of on the border of something worth rewatching or a one done sort of thing. Now to my female audience, I'm pretty sure you may enjoy this movie much more than me, given how some of the themes in this movie revolve around motherhood and loyalty, and the overall message really hits home, which is that no matter what dangers may come, a woman will do anything to protect her family. With that being said, if you like westerns and you want something different, then you may want to check out this movie as it really does stand out in the genre. And with a runtime of only an hour and a half, it is super easy to sit through. Well, that's gonna do it for this video, guys. That was my quick review on Jane's Got a Gun. If you like what you saw, hit the subscribe button so you can always upload from this channel. I'll see you next time with a brand new video. Bye-bye.